Hello, greetings from Ohio. So I am currently in Independence, Ohio on work assignment. And one of my coworkers absolutely raved about a restaurant called Bonefish Grill. I went there and tried it. I actually went there 2 times and tried it. And the first time, I didn't have my camera with me because I was going right after work. The second time, I brought a camera with me, but it was crazy busy. So I did shoot a little bit of video, and then I enjoyed my meal, but I didn't do any narration or anything. It's just little short clips of the dishes. The lighting, not so hot. Couldn't do much about that. It's night and the lighting was kind of dark. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my impressions of the different things I did. So the first time I was there, I walked in and it was 7:30 or so, maybe 7:45 at night. So it wasn't really busy. The staff was wonderful. My waitress was very attentive, but she didn't hover. Enjoyed chatting with her. And so I went ahead and I ordered a cod that they have that is stuffed with seafood, and it has a sauce and capers on top of it. Oh my goodness, beyond fabulous. It was so good. The fish is perfectly cooked. It's flaky without being dry. It is still moist. You have this nice bright element to it that you're getting from the capers, and there's this rich umami from the seafood that's on top of it, which looked to be kind of like a mix of crab and other seafood, all in sort of a sauce, and it was marvelous. So I had that. What did I get for sides? I got 2 sides. So the one I got was their macaroni and cheese, and the other was a risotto. The macaroni and cheese, it is your classic, rich, creamy, decadent macaroni and cheese. They did have pancetta sort of all through it, so it had a smokiness that you get from the pancetta. It was creamy. It didn't have a lot of cheese pull to it, but the flavor itself was marvelous. And I actually had my leftovers from that today at work for lunch, and it made a fabulous lunch. So that was my first side dish that came with it. You got 2 side dishes with this particular entree. And the pasta with it is kind of a spirally pasta. It wasn't like cavatappi. I'm not sure exactly which one it was, but the pasta itself was perfectly cooked. The sauce was creamy. It had good flavor to it, and it was fabulous. The other dish, the risotto. Okay, so the risotto comes, it's nice and creamy. The rice is perfectly cooked. It's everything a risotto should be. It has Parmesan cheese in it. And then they have this pesto olive oil. It's like pesto in some like good quality fruity olive oil. And they put a little bit of that on top of the risotto. Complements it really well. Now, if you don't care for pesto, you could ask them to leave that off. They're very good about customizing requests like that. So that was my first meal. It was my first time there, and the manager came around and she asked, how my experience was, and it was beyond marvelous. Fantastic food. Everything was absolutely exquisite. It's like dancing on my taste buds. Loved it. And of course, my waitress, I couldn't rave enough about her. She was marvelous. Well, the manager actually said, since it was my first time there, she wanted to know if I would like to try one of their desserts, and she recommended their chocolate creme brulee. And she actually gave me that, she made it complimentary. I'm tripping over my tongue here. I was really surprised, did not expect that. And it was absolutely everything one could expect. It was rich and it was chocolatey and it was decadent, but it wasn't overly sweet. And you had that toasty, slightly scorched sugar crust on the top that is classic with creme brulee. So when you break through it with a spoon, you get that nice sensation of it cracking. And it had whipped cream on it. It's really rich. So like about 2 bites is as much as I want to eat, but I was able to pack it all up and bring it back. So I will be eating that probably all week, and it is fantastic. Obviously, the whipped cream isn't going to last all week, so I had to do the whipped cream in fairly early. So today, I got out of work a little bit earlier than usual, and I went in, and it was really busy, but they found me a little seat in the corner, and I was glad to have it. I'm not going to be picky about where my seat is. I'm just delighted to be there. So tonight, I decided to try their house special pasta. So their house special pasta, and I have my leftovers here. It's a huge portion, by the way. The house special pasta was, or rather is, and I'm opening it up here, a linguine. And that linguine is tossed in this nice sauce. And it's bright with tomatoes. It's got like almost a, how do I describe it? Almost like a citrusy kind of, without being overwhelmingly citrusy, but it's nice and light. There's diced up red peppers in there. It has big hunks of artichoke heart, so you had me right there. And you've got your cilantro and your onions and your garlic, and there's a richness to the sauce. It's kind of a sort of a creamy sauce. It's a tomato-based creamy sauce, but it's not like a spaghetti sauce. It's more of a kind of a spaghetti-ish Alfredo. It's got the richness of an Alfredo. Really, really good. It also comes with a grilled lemon. So you can, if you like lemon on your seafood, you can do that. Now you have a choice of which fish that you would like to have this. It's a seafood pasta. Your choices are shrimp, or you can get salmon, or what was the other one? Honestly, the other one has left my mind, but it was another equally appetizing option. I opted for salmon. Now the piece of salmon is very generous. I would probably guess it's a solid 6 ounces, maybe 7 ounces. It's bigger than my palm. Like, it is a big piece of fish. It was perfectly cooked. It's nice and moist. It's got this nice richness that you get with a good salmon. And it was fabulous.
For a while. He's back in his apartment. He's doing well. But he has so they will be evaluated every day.
Now, every meal when you first go, they bring you a loaf of bread. So this is like 3/4 of the loaf of bread. It was about this much further back. I only ate a little bit of it. And if you look at the texture on that bread, look at that. It's soft. It's got a nice bite to it, but it's not overly crispy on the shell, on the crust. I guess it's not a shell because this isn't seafood, it's bread. And it comes with more of that really good quality olive oil that has a great fruity taste to it. So you get that, and it has some pesto sauce in it, or as they call it, their herb sauce. Pesto is basil and garlic that is pureed with Parmesan cheese, and usually it's got what else? Pine nuts blended into it. I'm not sure. I think they're using pine nuts, but I'm not positive. But it has that classic, nice, rich, bright, herbally pesto flavor that most of us love. I personally really like it. So I got that tonight, and it's very, very filling. So I ate about 3 bites, and I was quite stuffed. I did want to try one of their other desserts, and knowing that I'm going to be taking 98% of it home, I got their strawberry chocolate. It's like a strawberry chocolate decadent dessert. And it was displayed nicely on a plate, and I'm going to be inserting the picture. Ta-da! So you can see the picture of it. Now, in my leftover container, this is what I have left. So it has a flourless chocolate cake, which is very dense. It's kind of like a really dense brownie, but the texture is less of a brownie texture. There's no like cakiness to it. I don't even know how to describe it. It's creamy and it's rich, and it's really, really dark chocolate, but it doesn't have a bitterness to it. So you have your 2 pieces of chocolate flourless cake. Each one is about yay big. Look, it's as big as my face from this picture, from this set. Maybe this big. They're good sized. So you get 2 slices of that. And then there's this large strawberry that's been cut in half, and it's got that on it. It's got some whipped cream. It's got a chocolate drizzle, and they have a sauce that they put over it. And that sauce is a strawberry juice and champagne sauce. Now, strawberries and champagne are a classic combination. I've never actually had the 2 of them together. I've had them each separately. And, I'm not a huge wine fan. Strawberries, I love. Champagne, it's all right, but it wouldn't be my go-to choice that I would opt for. But strawberries and champagne are supposed to really complement each other. And, of course, strawberries and chocolate. Everyone knows about that. So I got that, and I tried the whole dish. And of course, the whipped cream is not from a can. It is fresh whipped and piped onto your dessert, which is way better than anything you can get in a spray can. It's sweet, but it's lightly sweet, so the richness of the cream comes through. The chocolate is a house-made chocolate sauce. It does not have the bitter notes that like Hershey's chocolate syrup has. But from a visual standpoint, it looks very similar to Hershey's chocolate syrup, except that it is a much darker brown. It's almost black in color. The cake itself is rich, and it's fudgy, and it's super filling. And so just like that creme brulee, a couple bites will do you. A couple bites will do you of this dessert. Strawberry is perfectly ripe. Delicious, fruity, fresh, not overwhelming, and it pairs really well with that chocolate flourless cake. Now, when it comes to that strawberry champagne sauce, the note when you smell it smells like strawberry, as if you were going to have a strawberry shortcake. But there is an alcoholic tang note to it, and that's coming from the champagne. It smells like wine. So if you had some white wine that was left over in your glass and you sniffed it the next day, it's got that alcoholic scent to it. It doesn't smell light and crisp and bubbly like champagne. Honestly, I would have preferred it without that champagne sauce. I would have preferred it with just the strawberry juice. But that could also be me, because I'm just really not a drinker. I've never cared for it. Now, it's not enough of a champagne that I felt any effects from the champagne alcohol, but I definitely smell it. And that, for me, kind of takes away from it. But aside from that one note that may be just me not caring for that, I will freely admit that people absolutely rave about a lot of alcohol beverages, and I'm like, yeah, can I just get an unsweetened iced tea? Because that's what I'd rather have. So for me, that one note, I didn't care for it. But overall, the dessert was really, really good. And again, super satisfying. So, like, look at this. It's most of it is right here. Like, there's 2 bites that I took of the cake, and I ate half of the strawberry. And that was plenty for me. Very satisfying. I had a different server tonight. My server tonight, shout out to Gregory. Gregory was awesome. He was wondering why I had a little camera and I'm like shooting video of my plate. And I explained that I was shooting a little video so that my husband could see what lovely stuff he was missing out on. And of course, you guys also get to see the lovely stuff he missed out on. Now, if there were a Bonefish Grill anywhere near where we live in Bakersfield, California, I guarantee you we would be regulars, because the food was fantastic. The service was absolutely top notch. Even when it was really busy and I walked in, by myself, I had the choice of a high top, or I could sit at the bar. Those are both first come, first serve. Or if I wanted to wait, I could wait for a table. I could have waited longer for a full-size table. I got a kind of a small table in a corner, but it's just me. I don't care. I don't need to take up a full table or a booth just for myself. So I was happy in my little corner, and they seated me actually probably about 5 minutes after I walked in, which is pretty good for a Saturday night when they were hopping. Like, this place was packed. Last night you could hear the music. Tonight, not so much, just because it was so busy and there was a lot of conversation. So when I put in the video, probably gonna add some music or something for a little bit of a soundtrack, because the conversation was pretty, and you guys don't need to listen to the conversation of the people at the table right next to me. So I'm gonna kind of omit that part. So this is the commentary you get from me. On a 1 to 10 scale, I would rate Bonefish Grill at about a 12. It was great. I had a really good experience both times. And again, if we happen to have one nearby, my husband and I, we would be definite regulars there. So on that note, I had a long day at work, and I'm going to unwind now in my lovely hotel room, and I will see you guys on the flip side.